and graphic artist for about 9 years now, and the artist and co-creator on the graphic novel Magic Cop. And today we're going to be doing another movie poster review. This video is, of course, sponsored by my Patreon. So if you guys like to get your hands on some cool, not safe for work paintings of beautiful women, you can head over to patreon.com/ZadeNinja and check those out. And let's see what we have today. We're going to be talking about Zombieland Double Tap and the corresponding posters that go with it. There's actually a couple of different posters. As you can see here, we have two examples here specifically, and then we're going to go into a couple of others. If you guys don't know, this is the sequel to the original, or the first Zombieland movie. And then this one is not called Zombieland 2, it's called Zombieland Double Tap, which is pretty cool. It's a little bit of a unique trend. You know, instead of just having, you know, the simple 2, they've actually kind of given it a proper suffix here, which is really cool. As you can see here on both of these posters, they both have the subtitle there, Double Tap. And then all right, let's look at these two posters, because these are both for the sequel movie. This one down here is probably an earlier version, and then this one on the right is a later version, when they figured out the actual release date, when they got all of that taken care of. All right, so we're going to start here on the left. I rather quite like this poster. I think the perspective is really cool. I think the high contrast that they're using also is really cool, because this light background is really creating a nice silhouette to the characters, as you know, it's going to define kind of their stances and their personalities a little bit. That does a really, really nice job. And then conversely, down here at the bottom, we also have a really, really light background creating a nice silhouette on these characters, which is really cool, because this creates another effect down here, which is these long shadows that are leading us up toward the characters. And I think that's a really, really cool touch. This is a very unique perspective. As you can see, these are pretty much, except for this girl here, everybody is the same as they are on this poster here. So I think that they are probably studio photos, or obviously studio photos, but shot from a different angle, which I think is pretty cool. Even you could see here, like, she's holding the gun exactly the same way here on the right as she is here on the left, but the colors are a little bit different. There's a lot more of a blue and gray tone going on here, and then on this one we have like a greenish yellow going on, which we'll get to in a second. The one on the left here is pretty nice, because it does have this kind of fisheye lens, and then they used this fisheye here up on the text, which is pretty Zombieland-esque. They did this on a lot of the posters for the original Zombieland movie, which is pretty nice. And then up here we have the characters' names. They're pretty big, but this is pretty standard in the graphic design industry. I think for the movies here, you know, you want to showcase your actors, and then especially what's nice about this is that you're showcasing that you have the original cast coming back. So you have, you know, Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Abigail Breslin, and Emma Stone, which is really important for a movie like this, because I think the original movie was such a character-driven film. This does an excellent job of letting you know that those people are back again. Excuse me. And then we can see their faces all right here. And then on both of these posters, I'm going to touch this, both posters at the exact same time. Let's clear this. I rather like that they have not done any extreme head embiggening. I don't know if you've noticed this before. I think a lot of Marvel movie posters do this, especially on magazine covers. They don't do it a lot on movie posters, but they do this a lot on magazine covers. They'll take the character, and then instead of having them like this, they will, let's see if we could do this here. They will stretch that like this, so the character looks much, much bigger in the face. So you get more face going on instead of just, what they should averagely look like this. This is pretty good. I like that they didn't do that. This looks like how big everybody's head should probably be. Um, and I think that looks really good. I think, here, same thing. Everybody's head is in proportion, which is pretty cool, because I'm not a fan of when they do that to the people's heads. And then on this one here, another classic use of the fire, showing off some conflict, but it's also showing off the world that they are living in. And so you can see there's this is the setting of the movie. So I believe they're going to be in Washington, D.C. And then we have like this chaos and conflict going on here. And then the smoke going up, creating this wall effect behind them, which is allowing this lighter area up here to create a nice silhouetting effect on these characters that are backlit. And then, of course, they're going to do the classic technique of lightening the characters' faces so that you can see their expressions and then who the actors are, of course, which is obviously very important, especially in a movie like this. All right, over here on the right, basically the same poster. We have a little bit of a different format going on here, but it's essentially the same. You can see here again that the poses are almost the same. Everything about these characters is the same. A little bit different perspective. We have a almost entirely flat line, creating a nice platform for our title down here. And then this time it's not angled, it's just completely flat, which is, over here was on this swooping angle. So this is nice, a nice line here for this as a platform for this here to make it easily readable. We have a nice contrasting background so that you're not going to lose this text here amongst the background. And then here we have her. She's a little bit of a different position here. She's kind of got like this sassy pose on. I think these two posters are here to set characters' personalities. If you haven't seen the first movie, maybe you can get a little bit of a taste of what these characters are like here in this second movie. Kind of like this sassy character. You have the badass chick. You have the hard ass guy, and then you have your generic guy. All right, and then so we have in the background here, we have your setting. This is very different from this one on the left, which showed off the Congress or whatever building that is from the Washington, D.C. area. On this side, we have kind of like the road here. So obviously they're going to be on a journey. And then here's the monster truck, which is going to be a funny gag from the movie. And I think this one's pretty cool. It's doing a little bit of a different thing here. The lighter zone is in the middle, where we have the darker areas to the outside and then up at the top. But I think this is probably done so that we can get the darker tones behind the title here, and then we get the darker tones behind this up here. Conversely, these guys were in white. They're a little bit smaller. The characters are much bigger here on this piece on the left. Over here on the right, the characters are a little bit smaller. And then we have these giant names up here on the top. Obviously, this is another thing to show that the original cast is coming back. Fans that go to the movies, see these kind of movies, they want to see stuff like that. Similarly with Fast and the Furious, it's a big deal for when they went to Fast and the Furious, and then they went to the second one, and then they went all the way up to like the fourth one, and then they got all of the original actors back. This is very important for them, so they have all of your names on here. So that's pretty cool. These posters, I like these posters a lot. I think they're very cool. I especially like this one here on the left. All right. So here's another example. We have on the right here, this is from Zombieland Double Tap. And then we have here on the left, this is from the original Zombieland. Now, obviously, the poster here on the right is not like a full movie release poster, because we're obviously missing some elements. We don't have the actors' names up here. We don't have all of this subscript, with this kind of jazz going on down here. But I wanted to show off a couple of things about these two posters. I think this is pretty cool, and this is kind of a fan service a little bit. which is we have these characters, and then this is another way of showing that you have the characters coming back to the same type of movie, to the same, exact same characters. They're doing the character acting again, and I think this is a really cool way of doing that. As you can see here, we have, that arced Zombieland title, which hasn't changed much. It seems very, very reminiscent of the old one. This is kind of a low-res image, so it doesn't have as much fidelity as this one does. Here we have the tagline, the nut up or shut up. We don't have that on this one. I believe this movie here has its own tagline, which I think is on the next poster, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so we have the characters. This guy's wearing his leather jacket again. He has his holster. So we could see here that these guys are coming back to play exactly the same character. The same stances. He's got like the upward chin to this guy. He's given a little bit of smirk in here. He looks a little bit more displeased with everything. Woody Harrelson's character in this one. We have another badass girl, and then here another another example of showing off the very similar character as they had in the other movies. And then we had the smoke in the background with the lightness, creating a nice profile for the characters. It's doing that here in this one again, as we could see. It's creating the nice silhouette of the character, so you could see everything quite nicely. So these posters are, this one was obviously the original one. It did a nice job of showcasing that you had some like classic actors, some newbies and stuff coming into these films. But you had like your Woody Harrelson as your anchor, everybody, Jesse Eisenberg, fantastic actor in general, and then you had Emma Stone, who was coming up. So that was pretty good. And then this one, I think this is probably one of the coolest posters because just in general, as a graphic designer, I'm a huge fan of like the conceptual art, and that it's not really telling you exactly what's going on. It's more of like a metaphor and kind of conveying a message without actually saying anything. And so here we have the original one, and then here we have the sequel. So I really, really liked this. Obviously we have the Zombieland with the arc, but the ball here, which is obviously signifying, the planet. And then we have like all of just this broken up chaos area. Fire, of course, being used as a nice draw in for the eye. And then, that's showing the conflict and chaos. And then we have, of course, the halo effect going around here, which is just a classic graphic design tool to bring the eye in towards the center. Oh yeah, here's the tagline for the first movie. Oh, this is actually a different tagline from the other one, which was "Nut up or shut up." This place is so dead. And then here on the second one, I loved this piece when they came out with it. Here on the right, because it is so reminiscent of this original one, where we had the ball signifying our landmass, but then on here it's the 2, of course, and then we have all of the little components of, here's the roadway, signifying the journey, and then we have with the White House here, and then some of the other areas. We have the monster truck up here running away from this explosion and stuff. I think this one is conceptually very, very cool. I love this piece. As soon as I saw it, I was very, very excited for this movie to come out because I think these conceptual pieces just really, really sell the idea of a cool, classic design movie, an entertaining movie to me. And, there's not too much to be said about just graphic design going on in here. We have, the light background to create a nice contrast for when it's a backlit marquee poster. We kind of have a little bit of a dark framing, not too much, not as much as we see over here. This is a lot of dark framing, but they had the circle to work with. Here they don't have the circle to work with too much on the right, so we kind of have like this overbleed of this light area, but it still works because we still have a little bit of a dark framing, and I think that looks really cool. I would have personally probably made this a little bit darker, so that when the marquee light was behind it, then it would have really highlighted the 2. But But it works because I think it's really cool that you could see so much more on this too than what you could see over here on this orb. Uh, and then of course you have, your date down here. This is probably also not a full release poster because you don't have, your actors' names or, all the other subtext that would go down here though. So yeah, these posters are really cool. I think that everybody probably seen this one. This one's probably going to be like the case cover on the DVD or the Blu-ray or something. But that's pretty cool. And then maybe something like this one would be like if you had a steel book or like maybe like a special edition Blu-ray or something. They usually put like this conceptual art on those like special editions, which is pretty cool. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Which one of these posters is your favorite? There's 4 of them, obviously. Here, some conceptual ones, and then you have like your classic ones, and then these 2 here, showcasing some more of the character stuff. So what do you guys think? You gonna go see Zombieland 2? I'm definitely gonna go see it. I highly recommend seeing the first one and then go see the second one. Hopefully the second one is just as good. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. And make sure you guys go to zadecomics.com if you guys want to help us out on our comic book that's coming up, Magic Cop. And check out my Patreon if you guys like some not safe for work paintings of beautiful women. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.